The Wi-Fi my phone joined at 1:07 a.m. The banner slid down like a bad idea with good manners. Joined Mariner Loft's guest, 1:07 a.m. I was in bed, my phone face up on the nightstand because I'd fallen asleep reading emails I didn't respect. I hadn't left the apartment since 10. My phone doesn't know how to join Loft networks without me, but it also shares a keychain with another person, which is a polite way of saying that in our house, secrets sometimes arrive as convenience. I lay there and stared at the words until the backlight made my eyes water. The name was familiar in the way city names get familiar. A lobby plant you've walked past, a door you've decided isn't your door. Mariner Loft sits on the river, brick refurbished into intention, balconies that think they're in movies. Ivy had said she was at the studio late, her two-word code for deadlines that arrive in coats. The clock took its time crawling to 1:10. I got up, padded to the kitchen, and drank water like it contained answers. The apartment hummed the small animal sounds of a place that expects to be forgiven. Ivy's mug from earlier sat by the sink with a lipstick print on its rim the color of restraint. I didn't call. Midnight calls are for men who want to hear lies they can tell themselves were bravely delivered. I opened the settings and tapped Wi-Fi. There it was, added to known networks. A borrowed key, synced to me because my body had once stood close enough to hers to be treated as the same person by a cloud that doesn't love us. At 1:32 the lock turned. The hallway light slipped under the door like a reporter. Ivy came in with winter on her hair and the look of someone who had successfully narrated a night to herself. "You're up," she said softly, rubbing her hands together the way she does when she needs them to behave. "Couldn't sleep," I said. "My phone made a friend." She followed my eyes to the counter where the device lay like a witness with a good memory. She didn't pretend she didn't understand. She unwrapped her scarf and set it on the chair back like it had a say in things. "Kitchen or the little room?" she asked. "We have a little room now, cheap rug, lamp with bad taste, where we try to like truth more than victory." "Here," I said. "Let's see if the fridge has an opinion." She poured herself water and stood with both hands on the counter, a posture I've learned means I can have an answer but not a fight. "We previewed a projection at Mariner," she said. "Sponsor insisted. He wanted the view, I needed the power outlets. After, he asked me to see the roof. I said yes in the way you say yes to architecture when you don't want to say yes to anything else." A pause, not dramatic, just respectful. I kissed him once. It tasted like the river pretending not to be cold. I walked back downstairs and stayed in the lobby until the part of my face that didn't belong to me left. I came home. His name didn't arrive with the confession. There are names that ruin rooms. "What did you want?" I asked, because I'm trying to be the sort of man who doesn't use questions to keep himself innocent. "To check if the version of me who says yes to roofs was dead," she said. "She is. She's also not as interesting as she thinks." We ate grapes standing up in the dark like people who have decided to live. Her shoulder brushed mine. A small current agreed with us. I could have gone straight to rage. It's a good sport, rage, and I've trained for it. Instead, I reached for her jaw with the gentleness that shouldn't have to prove itself. She leaned. We kissed like a translation, not a weapon. We stopped before we could pretend accuracy was absolution. In the morning, we did the ritual we reserve for days the night rewrites. Coffee first, sentences on paper after. Ivy sat cross-legged on the floor with the bad lamp off and wrote Rule 1 on the back of a flyer. "If I want a roof, I ask you first." I added, "If you need to kiss someone to learn you don't want them, tell me before your mouth does research." She smiled at that like it had teeth but not fangs. We taped it to the fridge, with the magnet from the deli that keeps closing and reopening like it's dadding the neighborhood. Work performed its bureaucracy. I attach audio to rooms for a living, make a kitchen sound like a confession or a hall like an argument you can survive. That day, every footstep sounded like restraint failing politely. At lunch, I walked to Mariner because I didn't trust my imagination to obey instructions. The lobby smelled like citrus and money trying to apologize for itself. I rode the elevator up without pressing anything because some buildings like to decide for you. On the roof, the river worked through its moods. The skyline did its suite of tricks. I stood near the ledge and tried to feel interesting. I didn't. I felt like a person whose body belongs to a house with another body in it. The wind used the word "come" on my face without being sexy about it. I went back inside. 3 days later, the Wi-Fi did it again. 12:23 a.m. This time my phone joined the network called Mariner Private. No guest, private. My chest agreed to be smaller. Ivy's location sat polite and unhelpful over the studio a mile away. I texted, "You good?" she wrote back, grabbing proofs. "You okay?" I typed and erased 4 sentences and sent none. The longer you live with someone, the more you become a stenographer for the weather between you. I waited until she came home and led us to the little room without asking. "I told him he doesn't get roofs anymore," she said, before I could narrate the map. He brought me back to see a revision at 7. The network auto-joined because I let it once. I didn't go to the roof. I didn't kiss him. He misread the hallway and I corrected his eyesight. "What did you say?" I asked. "That he's a noun," she said, "and I like verbs." It was the sort of line that tries to save you with craft. I didn't let it. I reached across the rug and took both her hands and said, "Storm or quiet? Our stupid useful code." "Storm," she said, the word a little broken in her mouth. I pulled her into me and gave her heat we could afford. We made out like teenagers with better manners. She climbed into my lap with the unembarrassed competence I fell in love with. I slid my palms under her shirt and learned again the map of a person who is mine because she chooses to be. We stopped when stopping kept the room hours. The sponsor texted the next day because men like that believe a calendar is a seduction. Ivy showed me the screen without virtuosity. "Don't use Wi-Fi like a leash," she wrote back. "And don't bring me roofs when the floor is what I asked for." He replied with an apology that auditioned for self-awareness and almost got the part. Then he didn't text again. Weeks taught us a rhythm. When she needed bright, she said spark, and I put my hands where electricity behaves. When I needed dim, I said curtain, and she turned off the sink and leaned into my shoulder until the day fell off. We ate pasta we could make with our eyes closed. We washed dishes like a 2-person exercise in mercy. I still checked logs I had no business checking. Once at 2:01 a.m. my phone chimed again. Joined Mariner staff. I sat up so fast that gravity filed a complaint. Then below it another banner, configuration profile installed. I stared. It was Ivy. It was a mistake, my laptop downloading a client staging profile I'd forgotten to remove. I laughed in the dark like a person who had just forgiven his own chest for rehearsing disaster. Eventually, because cities are petty and timing likes to betray, I met him, the sponsor. He was at a benefit, leaning on the bar the way good blazers are taught to lean. He recognized me with that micro-expression money buys from mirrors. "Adrian," he said, getting my name right in a way that told me he'd asked. "I've heard your mixes. Clean work." "Thanks," I said, a sentence men use when they want a roof to know they have floors. He angled his glass toward the ballroom. "She makes rooms want to be better," he said, meaning Ivy. "There aren't many who can do that without making everyone feel managed." "Try being in a room with her when you're wrong," I said. "It's educational." He smiled, not offended. I got the syllabus. I dropped the class. He didn't apologize. He left before I had to decide whether to be generous. I came home wanting to be uninteresting. Ivy was on the rug, hair up, legs out, spreadsheet open like a prayer. She looked up and made the face she makes when I arrive before my worst story about myself does. "Storm," she said. "Curtain first," I said. She stood and put her forehead to mine, both of us breathing like people who had swum a long way without needing a witness. Then she took my wrist and led me down in a way that skipped choreography. He'd arrived because we invited it. Her laugh caught. I kept my eyes open because love prefers the lights. We were accurate, then greedy, then accurate again. After, she pressed her fingers to the inside of my elbow, that soft, unreliable place, and we lay there like the rug was an altar. Spring took its time making promises it could keep. Mariner renamed their networks because tech people love to change things and call it safety. Mariner Guest became Beacon South. Private became Ops. My phone occasionally reported these things to me like a volunteer gossip. The banners lost their bite. They became the weather report of a city that will always flirt with the river. Our house learned to hum in another key. One night, pushing 2 in the morning, Ivy woke me by saying my name as if it had a new meaning. "Don't start without me," she whispered, sleep and heat mixing into the old chemistry. "Then come here," I said, and she did, and we made a noise the hallway has heard before and never told on. I kept the first banner as a screenshot for longer than I'll admit, not because I wanted to be injured, but because artifacts keep me from editing the story until it flatters me. It's gone now. I deleted it the day we stood on an entirely different roof with paper cups of bad coffee and a sun we didn't deserve yet. We watched the city practice being generous. Ivy slipped her hand into my back pocket and stole my phone because she likes to win, because she knows better than to let me be my own archivist, because she trusts me enough to erase little ghosts. We still write rules when we need them. The newest reads, "If your device learns a password, tell your person the story first." It's taped to the fridge under a magnet that looks like a lemon, which is to say we've chosen to be scolded by a fruit when we forget ourselves. Here's the thing I didn't expect. Desire got easier when we admitted where it flirts with stupidity. The little room isn't an altar anymore. It's a workshop. We go there to practice the future tense. We try to make staying more interesting than leaving, and some nights we fail politely and say so. Most nights we win in ways no one would applaud, which is exactly the point. Once in a while, a network I don't recognize appears on my phone at an hour that begs me to invent trouble. I pet the notification like a nervous animal and put the device face down. I walk to the kitchen. Ivy meets me there because she also saw something she could make cruel if she wanted. We kiss like a tutorial for people who want to survive their better stories. We turn the lamp to low and make a precise mess of the rug. The other day I set up Wi-Fi in that little room for a speaker that only plays what we tell it. I named the network Home. It's corny. It's also true. When it joins at any hour, my phone doesn't feel like a stranger reporting on me. It feels like a verb we chose. And when the river calls her, she texts me the word roof, and I text back stairs, and we go together. And the city can make whatever promises it likes while our mouths keep the ones we wrote, in pen, underneath a cruel lamp that has somehow started to look beautiful.